Hey everyone, welcome to More Than Mises, guys. This is part two of two-parter of Starscream's Brigade that we have with Michael Charles Soule, the writer. Please, if you want to check out the first issue or episode, or whatever you like to call it, go back and check out last week's episode. And as always, thanks for being here. Thanks so much for listening, and give us a like and follow. Put us on your subscribe. But if nothing else, thanks for being here today. So, as always, thank you so much. And now back to the episode. Jazz and Cliffjumper are attending a statue unveiling.
Ah,
Yeah.
Which, by the way, Optimus Prime too busy to show up to his own statue unveiling. He has prior
yeah.
commitments.
Sitting
All
in the
right.
base, no
So,
less.
He watched it on TV though. He was at home watching it on TV, so it's fine.
all right. So this is where I have to admit I screwed up.
Oh.
And I didn't realize it until we were in the recording session, and it was too late for me to fix it in any way.
Right.
Um, Now, I like to say there was an Easter egg intentionally foreshadowing the movie, but that would be a huge lie. So, yeah, so I just have to suck it up and say I screwed up by having this memorial ceremony while Optimus Prime was still alive.
I was wondering. I thought maybe that was just they said the word memorial. They decided to keep it by mistake. I was kind of wondering about
Yeah.
that. Perfect, because as we know, the season two is being written at the same time that the movie is being written, so I can
Hmm.
see that.
It's true. It's
Yeah.
true.
And were you involved with the movie as far as like what's going on in that? Were you kind of informed?
Not really. I mean, there were so many, Ron Friedman wrote his first draft. That was the deal he had with Sunbow. And then
Mhm.
Flint took that and ran with it and wrote many, many drafts. And he spent a great deal of time in New York City and or going back and forth New York City, working with Jay Bacall on the script. But occasionally, Flint would, as he still does, uh, seek out the hive mind, and he'd call us into the conference room for lunch, and we'd all sit around a table, and he'd basically say, every idea, that for a scene that you wanted to use in a Transformer episode that you couldn't make it work or it got cut. He said, just pitch it to me, and if I can, I'll use it in the movie. So that was the uh, extent of my involvement in the. And I don't even remember what I pitched, but
My next question is how much of yourself in it? Not that I would know because I still haven't seen the movie.
Yeah, we're actually waiting. We're saving the movie for when we finish season two for Ed because he's never seen it.
oh,
It's gonna be
cool.
fantastic.
Yeah,
Well, I
pretty
mean,
excited about that. So
if you're reviewing these chronologically, that's the best way to do it.
Yeah, I can't wait. We're gonna see some highs and lows from Ed, I think, for this.
Mm.
Jehu and I obviously are big fans of the movie too, so it's gonna be fun. But so yeah, so we have the memorial to Optimus Prime.
that statue's in color too. I thought that was cool.
I thought
Yeah.
I thought that was a choice.
That was neat. Yeah. So Starscream attacks here, and he says Combaticons transform with the subtitle because I watch them all with subtitles on YouTube. The subtitles say "and magic hands transform." And I got a big kick out of that. I also have to obligatorily. I have to. I'm infamous for having friends that mispronounced a lot of these names when I was in like elementary school, and my one friend always called these guys the Cumbunticons for some reason, and I
Mm.
cannot figure out why he said that. 'Cause every time I hear the name, I think of Brian Qualls saying Cumbunticons, and
Well,
now he lives on a prepper ranch out in Alabama. So
Oh, God.
close to me.
oh man, no, yeah, he went. That's the guy that threw my Ace action figure on top of my house when I was
Was
a
he
kid.
also the guy who called in Devaster? Is that a Devastator?
No, that was a different guy. That was
Okay.
Uh,
a different guy. That guy,
So
I'm
you
pretty
had
sure.
multiple Transformer mispronouncing friends.
Yeah, well, that guy, I'm pretty sure actually was just dyslexic because he mispronounced everything. Like
Oh, right on.
he bought like a. I've told this story before, but he bought a. For some reason, they made an action figure of Blue Thunder. The like I don't know what
Wow.
kid, like remember the movie Blue Thunder?
Yeah.
Roy,
I do. I remember seeing those toys, not buying them, but I remember seeing them.
Yeah, they made it. They made the Blue Thunder, and I don't know what else. That's all there was that helicopter and the guy. But on the box, they called him Astro. He was. I don't know why. I guess they didn't have the rights to whatever Roy Scheider's character's name was. But my friend insisted he was called Astor.
Yeah, he must have been
For years,
dyslexic.
I was I'm like, bro, it's Astro. It's right there on the thing. Oh, I think it's Astor. So
Yeah.
but yeah. So I like this. I like this town a lot. The way they drew the town, I thought it was really cool because it's like I talk a lot about the backgrounds on these shows and like the
Mhm.
signs and stuff like that. We get a cool sign for a motel, Studio 5, and a place just called Coffee. It was cool. Mike, when for these kinds of elements like that, how much input as a writer did you have into this, or was it just a thing where like does your story just say they're in a city and then the animators just take it from there, or
I'd have to go back and check the script, but I would say that I probably was not too specific beyond a small town square.
okay.
Yeah, it fits perfectly, actually. Right along with the reporter with the hat.
Mhm.
Reporter with the hat, that guy was cool though. I mean, we talked about him earlier, but yeah, he was cool.
He had the
kinda-
loosened tie too. He wasn't that uptight TV reporter. He's like a
No.
Jack McGee chasing the Incredible Hulk sort of TV.
Yeah, kind of was.
Although, in hindsight, because I'm sure he already existed, I don't know why. I mean, aside from the fact that it was an homage to the Minklers, I don't know why I didn't use Hector Ramirez, who we used in everything else.
I actually have the
right.
comment written in here. So was he busy doing a big scoop somewhere?
Oh, maybe so.
You get the small town reporter.
He lives in the big city though. This is a town out in the middle of
That's true.
But it's
That's
Optimus
true.
Prime's memorial,
Who
man.
spent their entire city tax budget on an Optimus Prime statue.
Yeah.
Somebody's not getting reelected as mayor.
Yeah.
Especially after this. So yeah, they have a fight there, and this is the debut of the Combaticons in combat. And Jazz and Cliffjumper get captured by Vortex. And there's the all the Combaticons have this great archetypal thing. Vortex is just unhinged. Onslaught is the tactician, Swindle's the con man, Brawl is the aggressor. He's just angry all the time. He's like the Incredible Hulk. And then you have Blastoff, who is just aloof. He thinks he's better than all this. He looks terrible, but then they stop after everything. Like, did you see how good we were there? We were amazing.
We were really self-congratulatory there.
Yeah, I love that.
Well, also,
Well,
this might be confirmation bias, but I detected elements of Paul Lynde in Blastoff. He could have very well said called somebody a dum-dum.
Which is
even though I know
appropriate.
isn't Paul Lynde, that's actually Harvey Korman.
But it's appropriate coming from you, as you've been called the Paul Lynde of this podcast.
I have.
Yeah.
Ooh.
The Combaticons demand energy absorbers from the Autobots, but in an effort to get what he wants, Starscream says, "We can't play favors, guys. No. We need to capture 3 more Transformers, and then the whole team will be taken care of."
But it makes sense. There's five of them, and they need 5 energy absorbers. I mean, like you
Yeah,
can't
no, he does,
break
but
one in half.
I don't know. He came off as a manipulative mom to me in this.
exactly.
yeah.
You guys can't share. Nobody's getting any.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
And
100%
he's just going to keep using them for
Right.
as long as he
Yep.
can.
and he does until they eat him. The whole thing with this though, yeah, like you said, he's losing his bargaining posture. So he's got to guys, kicking the can down the road. He knows it's not going to last forever, but he's going to take it as long as he can. So I always love that. We have Shockwave informing Megatron that the Decepticon detention facility has been breached. And for some reason, Megatron blames the Autobots.
Like immediately.
Why would you go? These are political prisoners.
Right.
Why would the Autobots go and rescue political prisoners?
These are Decepticons so bad that the Decepticons locked them up.
So let's go rescue them, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, that I love that the Megatron immediately thinks it's Optimus Prime. So much that he shows up and threatens them. He shows up as like him and a few others show up and start threatening Optimus Prime, and it's just Power Glide Optimus Prime and was it Gears? No,
I think it was one of those little mini bots.
yeah, I meant Gears.
No, it was Gears. It
It was
was
Gears. Okay, yeah. He shows up and they repel the Decepticon somehow because he asks, Optimus Prime's asking him, what he's done with the Jazz and Cliffjumper, and Megatron's like, wait, hold on. If you didn't break into it and you're missing a Jazz Cliffjumper, he takes his time to think while you're in a firefight. And he gets shot in the chest.
He actually, the line is, this is my favorite line of the episode. Are Prime's microchips messed up? Like, I love that. As a kid, I would have tried to use that conversationally at school, which is why I was so well liked.
You did use it when you Megatron got blasted so hard that his fusion cannon broke.
Stopped working.
Like, he got housed. This dude was
our friend of the show, Boo, who does a lot of the comic episodes with me, he pointed out that was a kind of a subplot of the episode. Her Megatron's fusion cannon wasn't working; he had to get it repaired, and he's working on it and stuff. It was cut out of the episode eventually, I guess, when recording. But the original script had, your original script had some of that as a kind of a tiny subplot.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, it was.
I'll take credit for that.
Fair enough. You're the writer.
Did that happen a lot, that you would write a script and basically you would get it back from the animators and there just weren't parts there and you had to roll with it?
Oh, absolutely. Because we wrote really long scripts.
Right.
Because we wanted to give we wanted to fill the time and have as many beats as possible in the story. So maybe, we were writing 55 to 60 page scripts.
Right.
So rule of thumb is that one page of a live action script equals 1 minute.
Right.
Therefore, 2 pages of an animation script equals 1 minute. Well, when the actual episodes are only 22 minutes long and we're delivering 55 to 60 pages, something's got to go.
Right.
Now, for me, it was always, there are ways to trim a particular scene and keep every beat in it.
Right.
But that was at the discretion of whoever the Marvel Productions director was assigned to the episode. And sometimes it was easier for them to cut a scene out than it was to trim scenes.
Well, probably also if you give them too much, it lessens the chances of ending up with too little.
Exactly.
Yeah. And so back to the episode here, though, because obviously that subplot was taken out. Just it was a mention, and suddenly he can use his fusion cannon again. So if they're going to take out a subplot of this episode, that's probably the best one to take out. But so they all Megatron and the Decepticons show up in a train, kind of a train yard, and they're expecting to find Starscream and the Combaticons there.
This was like something from a 70s spy movie, and I was totally here for it. It reminded me of like one of those moody spy movies from the 70s. So.
Guys, there's one thing I want to make sure we don't miss. Have we gotten to the part where he calls the Stunticons yet?
Not yet.
Oh,
not yet.
Yeah.
Then just keep going. Keep going.
Okay. Yeah. It's coming up real soon. But this is after we found out the Combaticons are political prisoners, and so Starscream and his little army, the Combaticons, show up to confront Megatron at the train yard, and there's a firefight that breaks out, and electrical box has blown, and the lights go out, and Megatron starts running. He doesn't think anyone can see him in the dark. And he laughs at Starscream about his incompetence, but. At the end of this, after the big firefight, it's Dirge and Ramjet are blown into a train car. So now they have two more for the collection. So they're, pretty happy about that.
Of the four.
Right.
Of the
Yeah,
four.
so they're up to four now out of five.
But I'm gonna say that the Combaticons have got to be starving at this point. They've had now they haven't eaten anything since they've been born, and these guys are probably ravenous at this point.
Which is probably contributing to why they're starting to act kind of hangry. Like they had about enough Starscream.
They confront Starscream against a brick wall. He's like, guys, we have two more. It's like, with any character like a Starscream, like a character that's in it for, I guess in it for himself, essentially. When the things start to turn against him, he's going to get more and more desperate. And it's just nice seeing that. It's like, but guys, we got two more to the collection. It's fantastic. This is where Megatron calls all the Decepticons because he feels threatened all of a sudden.
Right.
Yeah, because the Combaticons obviously are very able. And he calls them the Stunticons. And the Stunticons are like, yeah, we're not showing up. We're doing a demolition derby.
The exact line, we've got to have it because it's so good. Blow it out your exhaust. We're at a demolition derby. Let me tell you something. 11-year-old Jason lost it on that, and so did much older Jason. I love that. That's a great line.
I will confirm that I also lost it on that. As a kid, I was a massive fan of Demolition Derby, and one day they were just gone. There used to be a time where you could just see them. They were all over the place. You could just turn on TV and there was Demolition Derby on.
Oh, that'd be fun. The Five Flag Speedway.
I haven't seen one in ages. It's like roller derby went away. It came back for like 6 weeks in 1991, and then now every punk rock girl does roller derby. But
I used to live close enough to Five Flags that I could hear it from my house.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I went to one of Five Flags.
Good thing for a Saturday night.
Oh, yeah, fun. With the cars with big X spray painted on the hood because there was going to get junked anyways.
Mike, were you a big fan of Demolition Derby back in the day? Was that
when I was a kid? Yeah.
It's cool. It's yeah.
So we go to the amalgamated water and power plant, and he's got all four of them chained up against like these pylons of the metal pylons at the power plant or a yard. The sub what's it, the sub yards of power plants. They'll have. I used to live kind of right across from one at one point, and they have those metal structures that kind of have everything attached inside of them. So yeah, they're chained up to those things, and it goes over, and they all have hoses to their chests powering up. Apparently, they didn't need a fifth one, so they're all powering up finally. Like, well, we'll fudge it. It's fine.
Yeah, I'm sure they, stuff like this as a kid. I enjoyed working out the spots that weren't there as a kid. And I'm like, oh, they must have just figured out splitting four is still better than nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
But
yeah, then the Decepticons find them and start attacking. Immediately after the fight begins, we have Devastator, or as your friend would say, Ed Devastor.
Devastor, same dude. Called him Devastor. That's right.
But this is where the gambit pays off because Starscream's thought ahead, like, but I know what you're going to do. So here, I've got my guys forming Bruticus, which to this day is my favorite of them. The look, the aesthetic, and honestly, it's a cool combiner.
Yeah, my favorite of them too.
I think it's
really cool.
I think it's because the personalities of these guys all together is just brutal.
But he's like Frankenstein, though. He talks like Frankenstein. I was totally into that because Frankenstein's awesome. I don't know. Mike, was that on you to the personality or the speech patterns?
When I was rewatching the episode and when he transforms into Bruticus, and I heard his voice, I'm thinking, where did that come from? So I want to believe that was already baked into what Hasbro sent me.
Right.
And that's why I wrote it that way. I don't remember taking liberties with whatever they had come up with or what Bob Budiansky had come up with. And do you know how he's played in the comic books?
No.
Because I don't either.
Haven't gotten there yet in the comics.
From what I remember of him in the comics, I don't think he's given much of a personality as a combined
Okay.
character. So something I was wondering, because, I mean, like, 11-year-old Jehu, he would have just been like, oh, it's on at this point.
Yeah.
When something like this in the script, do you do like a play-by-play of how you want the fight to pan out, or is that something you kind of just broad strokes and leave to the animators?
Can do it both ways. I tend to uh, be as specific as I can
Right.
in the writing, because that's just kind of par for the course for writing animation anyway. Everything
Right.
that you see on the screen, you have to write in, including all the cut twos to different angles
Right.
to hopefully make it as visually interesting and cinematic as possible. And then you just have to hope that the storyboard artist does his thing.
Right.
Well, that
Cool.
was the question I had. Was when you do you when you're writing animation like that, do you work directly with a storyboard artist and then it gets sent off to the? Because I mean, you guys are dealing with an overseas animation company, if I
Right.
recall correctly, right?
I mean, not to, I mean, directly and indirectly. Because
Mhm.
what would happen is, it seemed like every Friday I had to submit whether it was Transformers or GI Joe, I had to submit a script to Marvel Productions so they could assign a storyboard artist like on a Friday night so they could get started over the weekend. So sometimes it was just luck of the draw. Sometimes, especially if it's an episode I wrote, um, and I had a favorite artist, I would call them up and say, "Hey, I just submitted a script today. If you're not busy working on another episode, I'd love for you to do the storyboards." Because what I discovered on my own, never confirmed by anybody whatsoever, but after doing dozens of these episodes, the better quality of the storyboard, the better quality of the animation.
Right.
And I felt like if you had a B or C talent working on a storyboard, that the overseas animation studio would look at it and go, well, if you guys don't care enough about storyboard, we're not going to care that much, and we'll give it to our B or C team.
Actually makes a lot of sense. I'm thinking about some of the later episodes, especially like the Bird and Hardness of the Bear, which you wrote in season 3. And there is so much detail worked into interpersonal relationships and things going on. And there's some episodes that it looks like they just kind of phone it in. I can tell that you like thinking of it that way and thinking of it, what it could have been, how this fight could have gone, without working primarily with the storyboardist to get the proper animation done. I could see how that could be a problem. So I'm over here
Yeah.
thinking about my memories of season 3. And
Yeah.
I
So,
have a
yeah.
similar rule about haircuts. Like, you want to go to get a haircut on a day that your hair looks good. Show the person cutting your hair that you care.
I don't know. I don't get haircuts, so I wouldn't know.
Good. Ed can't be involved in that
I'm
conversation.
not in. Yeah. I'm not in.
I've gone that direction myself.
But we get a massive combiner battle here, and this is awesome. This is these are the kinds of things that I'm totally here for. We get like a big like three-way
So
thing here.
actually,
This is awesome.
so I actually have a question because my memory is that when Hasbro sent me the fax, it was a list of combiners,
Hmm.
and I picked the Combaticons and Bruticus as it's like I'm going to do this one. But when I watched the episode, I'm thinking, well, where do the Constructicons and the Stunticons come from? Did they already exist in episodes before?
They
Because
did,
I was
yes.
thinking, okay, because I was thinking I missed an opportunity to introduce them, or it was a scene that was cut out because the episode was too long. But they already existed. So when Combaticons and Bruticus came along, they were later in the Combiner series, correct?
Yeah. Constructicons had been around for a while at that point.
Mhm.
And
Okay.
the
Actually,
Stunticons
Stunticons.
were introduced pretty recently before this. They were
Yeah.
from the same wave, at least.
Okay.
Yeah, and then we have the like I don't know if it goes into the listing of the Protectobots. They didn't really even have an origin story. They just showed up one day in an episode.
Right.
So I mean that I personally, and I think I can speak for the other two here, appreciate having this whole flesh out origin story because it makes the characters better, and the characters these characters stick around through the end of the series. So it's fantastic.
Mhm.
I
Right.
mean,
And to go,
150. Oh, good. Sorry. Go ahead. Sorry.
nope. I was just going to go back to something that was said earlier about Bruticus's voice and the Frankenstein comparison. It just occurred to me now, with all those different personalities running through his head, it would be very confusing to figure out for for himself who Bruticus was.
Right. Yeah. I mean, kind of like Frankenstein, like he's a
Yeah.
patchwork man who, yeah. Yeah.
Well, and that was one of the things they always had for like Budiansky would write up for these combiners. You know, some of them worked well together, like the Constructicons worked well together. Um, I think Bruticus actually was it was like kind of a constant fight with all five of them because they all think they're so fantastic
Right.
in different ways. So yeah, it completely makes sense. And they went into the Stunticons are all chaotic. So Minosaur is always kind of dumb as a combiner. So yeah, it makes complete sense if you look at it that way. So yeah, that makes a lot sense looking at that direction. So this is the best part of this though. Speaking of Minosaur and the Stunticons, so the whole battle happens and he beats the Devastator to the ground and he grabs Megatron, starts crushing him and Starscream's like, "Who's the leader? Who's the? I didn't hear you. Say it louder." And right when he says to Starscream, "You're the leader. Fine. You have all the Decepticons." The Stunticons show up because I guess they're done demolition derbying
They've
somewhere,
destroyed all the cars.
and they're like, "Hey guys, look what happens. We got to take care of Megatron." And I love that dead end of the Suncons is almost like he's the nihilist, but he's so well spoken. He has the same kind of speech pattern as Onslaught, who is the tactician. He's well spoken. I love these dynamics of these teams, and yeah, they do the best thing. They form Minosaur in the air and do this power driving punch that creates a crater in the ground.
They
Yeah.
punched him into the ground. This was great,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
Also,
It's a top rope move. I love
it
it.
was. It very much was. They show up on a cliff, which is a very that's a trope in Transformers that I don't
Mhm.
think we talk about enough. Is that they show up on a cliff. There's a lot of dudes show up on cliffs in Transformers, and
Well,
the
Megatron
cliffs
did
are an
earlier.
underrated thing. So yeah,
When Megatron showed up to threaten Optimus Prime, he did it on the cliff also.
he was on a cliff. Yeah,
It's like
man.
these dynamic poses, man.
I need a cliff near my house so I can just do cool stuff. On the cliff. Like look over the cliff and like, drink a beer or something.
So yeah, cause an explosion, and Starscream's over the edge of this crater going, Bruticus? Bruticus? And Megatron reaches out, not Bruticus.
Yeah, that was cool.
Banishes Starscream and Bruticus to space. As we have the last scene of them on a piece of rock floating through space.
On a rock.
On a rock. And
Which, is a character growth. Megatron realized the island wasn't enough. Put him on a rock in space.
we'll put you on
Somebody
an island
learned
in
something in
space.
this.
Which
Yeah.
was also an island. It looked like an island floating in space.
Yeah,
yeah,
It's
it did.
a better island. We're leveling this island up for you, but like one of them's a space shuttle though. They can just get off, like just fly off.
Well,
okay, this is the two-parter. Is
yes,
this two?
and unfortunately, Mike, I guess Larry Strauss wrote the second part of this. But I was like, I was looking ahead, going, oh, maybe we can get some insight on the second episode of this. And I don't know if you had any input there.
I don't remember having any conversation with Larry about it. I don't even remember the episode. So did he pick up
Yeah,
where okay,
it's the Revenge of Bruticus.
right.
It's
I remember the title, but I don't remember anything about the episode.
yeah, it starts off they all hate each other and they're floating in space, so that is a perfect start for this group. So fun episode. I love these episodes. They're just fun. They don't fun episodes don't have to have any lasting impact, but this one does because those characters stay around for a long time and they are constantly written the way you have written them to start this out, and I love that. Swindle is one of the best characters in the show going forward. And so that's always wonderful. I think Jehu, you can back me on that one.
Yeah, yeah, because
Swindle.
he lasts into other shows. He's a
Oh
big
yeah,
deal on Transformer Anime. Actually, he's my favorite character on Transformer Anime.
there you go. And so this the writing you gave these characters to start off with their birth, as it were, really has a lasting impact, which is nice. But there actually is something about this I wanted to ask. So it's suspected the original name of this episode was 30 Seconds Over Megatron, which
Correct.
is what I was as talking to the guys before this started. It was 30 seconds over Tokyo. It was like a play off that.
Right.
So Starscream's Brigade, is it actually a tribute to the film The Devil's Brigade?
Yes, it is.
Okay, the
I,
Devil's
I,
Brigade. I'm
I
sorry.
refuse. I got I either got a fax from Sunbow that was a copy of a fax from Hasbro. They hated the title. They felt, and I said, why? Because they said, "Oh, I was told I had to change it." And I said, no. And they said, "Oh, it sounds too like a war movie." And I said, "Have you guys seen the effing show?" Um, and I just refused to do it. And then somebody, I don't know if it was at Sunbow East or at Marvel Productions, changed the title for it must have been Marvel, for the script that the voice actors would get, to like the Mutiny of Starscream. And I said, no way. So I caved. And yes, I just went with another World War II film, Devil's Brigade, and everybody was happy.
Right on.
That's great. I mean, consider the premise of the movie is a bunch of like criminals and just jerks getting recruited to fight World
Yeah.
War II, which
It's
is
pretty close to Devil's
r-
Brigade, so
Yep.
yeah,
yeah,
that
that's yeah,
works out perfect. Man, before we get in how we thought about the episode, I gotta tell you, Mike, this is such a nice treat to have you come back on here again. I really your original episode we did an interview with you is one of my favorite ones still. I actually
Oh,
learned
thank you.
so well. I learned so much myself. I think Ed and I both did.
that is my single favorite episode of the show that we've done so far.
So yeah,
Wow.
Straight up.
so it was such a treat to have you back on this again. So thank you so much once again for being here. I learned
Oh,
so much.
my pleasure.
We normally we normally rate give our ratings on these episodes when we're done. Are we doing that on this one or
By all means,
all
why
right, all right.
break with tradition?
Okay, so I think I usually go first on these. So this was an extremely fun episode. I had a blast watching this one. Well, I know we were talking about doing two episodes today. I'm kind of glad we didn't. I had stuff going on, but this was a lot of fun, man. We had a World War II stuff, which as a kid I loved. As an adult, I also, spoiler, I still love. Um, we got a new combiner team in this. We got a three-way combiner fight, which is like the main event here. We got a cool like wrestling style promo from Brawl, and like I really like that. It was a lot of fun, and despite like I mean there were like A-list Autobots in it, but they weren't the focus, and even the B-listers that were in it were like it's fine. It was more about Starscream and the Combaticons anyway. So but yeah, I had a really good time with this, and this is probably I think one of the better season two episodes. So I normally split my ratings between how I would have thought about it as a kid and how I feel about it as an adult. So kid brain would have just mined that whole World War II thing for a million things to play with. I would have, and my grandfather fought in the Pacific Theater, and so I would have immediately gone to him and asked him about Guadalcanal, and he probably could have told me 8 million stories, and that would have been cool. So kid brain's gonna go four uh
Ooh.
four holdout Japanese soldiers out of five. um uh Adult Brain had it seemed like it was over in minutes. I breezed through it. It was great. I liked everything about it, even the things that I mean, even the things that I kind of pick, nitpick at or whatever. It's always out of out of it's never out of malice. It's always out of out of affection. And I almost kind of hate that we're coming towards the end of season two. But I had a really good time with this one too. Adult Brain is also going to give this one. Man, I'm gonna have to go four room 217s out of five. I had a good time with it. I had a good time. It's a good one, Mike. So yeah, we're glad to have you on with us. And Evan, Jehu, where are you guys at?
And it's funny. A lot of what I'm going to say lines up with you. I grew up with my grandfather, and I'm sure you've heard me talk about Odell.
Odell,
but,
yeah.
Just a shorthand to explain to you other guys what Odell was like. I was probably 4 years old before I realized that Odell and John Wayne were separate people. I just thought that was a feature of adulthood, that you got to a point where you got to watch movies about yourself on TV. So Odell was very pro watching Westerns, very pro watching war movies. So I can remember specifically thinking as a kid when this intro started, man, I wish Papaw was here, because, he would be on board with this for once. So I love the World War II stuff. This was one of my favorite ones as a kid. Again, I love the Combaticons. I also like, I mentioned this as a kid. I just liked episodes that showed a lot of Transformers, and this one showed a lot of Transformers, and a lot of them were fighting. And I enjoyed it just as much as an adult. Kid brain and adult brain are at total unity on this, and they're both giving it 5 messed up microchips.
Nice. Yeah, I gotta kind of go with you there in the fact that this episode is one of the ones I always remember from a kid, because I would love this episode because I love the Combaticon so much. And it doesn't hurt that my favorite character is Starscream, and this is his one time he actually almost succeeds. He has all the tools in place. He is so close to this, but like a jump from the top rope from Minotaur ruins everything. But he does this all himself. He goes and steals personalities. He mass murders all the rest of the prisoners. He builds his own little army, and he strings them along just long enough. Honestly, this is Starscream's episode more than even the Combaticons, though I love them. This is him finally getting his chance and almost doing it, only because he is that resourceful and that smart. So I love that. That's honestly fantastic. Like you said, the Autobots in this were just afterthoughts, honestly. I mean, Power Glide was only there because he wanted to spy, and then Gears, I don't know, he was waiting in the green room for most of the episode. But this is always one of my favorite episodes, and honestly, no, stroking him in his ego here, but this is I gotta give this a 5 premonitions of Optimus Prime's death out of 5. So
now I feel bad. Now I feel like I'm gonna have to go ahead and give this an extra Lynn Deaton novel out of 5. Then I'll have the bottom line.
And to be fair, you're Jesse the Body Ventura. You're the heel commentator. You can't go 5-5.
But in all seriousness,
and and certainly, I'll be the first to admit the episode is worthy of criticism.
Oh yeah,
in spite of everything else.
Well, I just want a more Soundwave out of it, because I'm a known Soundwave fanatic.
Soundwave stan.
Yeah, that's how you get my heart.
I have to say, my favorite image in the episode is Starscream on Bruticus' shoulder.
Yes.
and if I ever get a large Bruticus for my personal archives, I'm going to have to find a teeny tiny Starscream to put on him.
Exactly. No, 100%.
I'm sure we could help you find the correct Starscream for that. That is not. You've shared a lot of knowledge. That is knowledge we can share.
Yeah.
This is like I said, no stroking ego needed. I mean, I remember this episode from my childhood, so that's why it hits its home. And I was excited to get here in season 2.
Right.
This is one of the main things, and that's why I'm like, oh man, I hope Mike can do it. I hope you have time, because I know this is con season also. So I appreciate that time you spend, and I learn something every time you're on here, which is
cool,
fantastic. These are stories like I was talking. We talked to Buzz. These are stories that we need to pass on and let live on through the fandom, through the people who will live these stories on to their kids, and it needs to be out there.
Yeah, otherwise they die with us.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I think as you put it last time, before I take my dirt nap, I'll make sure everyone else knows what happened.
Yeah.
And it's true. It's very true. And I appreciate having and Jehu here with us because I feel like it's only expanding things and making things better. And so once again, I appreciate everyone, and this is fantastic. If any of you guys want to leave off with anything before we close up here?
Mike, it was nice to meet you. It's nice to get to ask you a question I've had since I was like 11 years old. So that was a
Oh,
good time for me.
oh, my pleasure.
And Ed,
I got nothing outside. I mean, just the normal stuff. But Mike, do you want to plug anything? You got any
yes.
appearances coming up or anything that you got going?
Um,
Word out.
yeah, I'll be in San Diego
Nice.
in a couple of 3 weeks, I guess.
Mhm.
Um, I know I'll be at the concert, and I'll be sharing somebody's booth doing some signings. I hope to ambush Hasbro and get them to give me a comp of the new Cold Slither box set.
Yes.
And let's see. Then next convention is I have on the books is Joe Lanta in September, end of September.
I'm actually really happy that this coming up in September. I kept trying to make a convention where you're at, and my job currently is working 6 days a week. And I should be transitioning to a different job soon, where I'll actually have weekends and actual a life. So I want to definitely try to make that Joe Lanta, because there's no reason for me not to have actually have the time, and my wife is fully supportive of this, as she says.
Oh,
So
great.
yeah, so can't wait to see you there. And thanks so much for being here, everyone. Thanks for listening and checking us out once again. And we hope to talk to you in the future, Mike. So we
Yeah, I expect now when you get into knee deep into season 3, uh, you might want to talk to me about a couple of episodes.
Right on.
definitely that. So if as always, Ed, would you like to take us out of here today?
Roll out.
Thanks, guys. More Than Meets These Guys, a Transformers podcast, is performed by Evan Johns, Boo of the ExcellentUnderground.com, and Ed Strickland. Research is done by Evan Johns, Boo of the ExcellentUnderground.com, and Ed Strickland. Special thanks to Hasbro, Marvel, Skybound, and the occasional extra property, which we will name at whatever time is appropriate for that episode. And without all of you, this is really not even possible. So thanks for being here, and thanks for checking us out every week. Goodbye.